Sean, the Teen Librarian here at the Palm Springs Public Library, and this is the tutorial for the Teen Summer Reading Program craft tie-dye with bleach. In your kit you'll find a squirt bottle, some rubber bands, some gloves, and a black tee. These tees were donated by Windmill City Screen Printing, so a big thank you to them for supporting our program. A couple things before we get started. You'll be working with bleach, and that's an irritant, so please be very, very careful. You don't want to get it anywhere. So that's why I've provided gloves, so make sure you're wearing this when you're handling the bleach or the shirt when it has bleach on it. You're going to be working with about a 1-to-1 ratio of water and bleach. So you're going to do a half cup of bleach, so make sure you have that. We didn't provide that, and a half cup of water. I would also recommend using like a baking sheet or a container, something to work inside. So it's just one way you can help eliminate splashing bleach everywhere. Also, I strongly recommend watching the entire video before getting started, so that way you know you're 100% ready to go when you get started. And last, there's a secret code somewhere in this video, so make sure you listen for that. You'll need that to enter in on Beanstack for this badge, and also to get a grand prize entry ticket. All right, this is one of my favorite crafts to do, so let's get started. I'm really excited to do this. All right, let's get started. So in your kit you will have a squirt bottle, some rubber bands, and your t-shirt, which was donated by Windmill City and Cathedral City. They're one of our sponsors this year. They donated all of our shirts, so big thank you to them. Make sure you check them out. And then also you'll have gloves. You want to work with gloves because we're working with bleach, and this is bleach, by the way. I haven't provided that, obviously, so you'll have to get some bleach. What your ratio for water to bleach is going to be 1-to-1, and I'm going to be working with half a cup of bleach and a half a cup of water. When you're working with bleach, a couple things. One, you want to wear gloves, please, please, please. It's very irritating for your skin. It's going to be irritating for your eyes as well, so be careful not to get it anywhere. Also, you want to make sure you're working in a well-ventilated area, and you want to make sure you're wearing clothes that you don't care about, because I promise you, as hard as you will try, you will get bleach somewhere. So you got to be careful, but also you need to be mindful of what you're wearing and what you're working on, just to make sure that whatever you're working with could get damaged. So be careful and be mindful of that. Okay, so before we go any further, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pour the half a cup of bleach into the squirt bottle. This already has a half cup of water. My rule of thumb has always been to pour bleach into water. I don't know if that's sound, but that's what I've always been told, and that's what I've always done. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and secure this. Make sure that's on tight. These squirt bottles also have a safety cap, which is helpful, so I can put that over there and not be so nervous about it. Next, you're going to take your t-shirt and you want to wet it. I've already done that, but I want to just give you a couple of notes about wetting it. It may seem like you've covered all of it, but really move the shirt around when it's in the water, because when it's a new shirt especially, the fiber doesn't soak up water as quickly as you might think, so you will have to move it around and make sure you got every single part soaked. And now what you're going to do is lay it out on a flat surface. Lay it out on a flat surface and try to flatten out as much of it as you can. I mean, obviously don't worry about the wrinkles, but you do want, the sleeves to be flat. You don't want them to be bunched up, because that will kind of interfere with your pattern. Next, what you're going to do is you're going to pick a point on the shirt. So this is the shoulder, the chest, here are the arms, got the rest of it going down here. But you want to pick a point on it where the swirl of the tie-dye is going to start. So I'm gonna kind of go maybe like somewhere mid-body maybe. I don't want it to be over here because then it's going to get kind of lost. You don't want it to be somewhere on the outside because it's going to be hard to bunch all of that up once you start the twisting process. So I'm going to start kind of over here. This is a little bit lower than the chest, and it's on the left side of the shirt. Now, what's key is when you start twisting, which we'll start doing here in just a moment, you're going to want to make sure you grab both layers. It's not very hard to do, but just make sure you start that. When you start it, you want to make sure you do get both layers. So you're going to pinch, and then you're going to start twisting. One thing that you'll notice is that when you're twisting, you'll start kind of forming the shape that you're going to make, which is basically it's going to be a round, jelly donut's the best I can think of. But you're just going to kind of twist that shape and kind of compact it so that it's one shape. Kind of squeeze in that perimeter. All right, and now you're going to take your rubber bands and you're going to start with 2, and you're going to just make an X. Now when you pick it up, you want to make sure you retain the shape, and that's part of the reason why we're doing the rubber bands, is just to kind of keep the shape together as well as informing the pattern. Okay, there we've got that. So now we're going to do 2 more rubber bands and make another X. So we're dividing this up into 8. Now you can do a couple of things. You can tuck any of these smaller parts that are kind of sticking out. You can tuck them in if you want. It's up to you. I would recommend doing it just to kind of make it all uniform. And next, what you're going to do is you're going to move this to or into whatever, if you're working with a container like I am, or onto a baking sheet, you're going to want to move it into something because we're about to start working with the bleach. Now, a couple things to remember before we get started. I'm going to put gloves on here in just a moment, but the trick to doing this is you're going to tie-dye one side and then tie-dye the other, but also you have to skip the sections that you have here. So I'm going to start here since it has the tag. That'll help me remember. I'm going to do this one, then skip and do that one, that one, that one. And when I flip it over to the next side to bleach this side, I will make sure that I'll do the same sides as well. Excuse me, the same sections as well. And that will help your tie-dye pattern be even on both sides. And this is where where the rubber bands come in and helping keeping this pattern. So that's one thing to remember. The other thing to remember is after we let this set for about 10 minutes, then we're going to take it over to the sink and rinse it. Rinsing it is what stops the process, the bleaching process. And it may not look like much has happened, but once you start rinsing it, you'll see that a lot of the black will start leaving the shirt as well. So we're going to do about 10 minutes. Once we get the bleach in, we're going to do about 10 minutes, and then we're going to rinse it out and make sure that we stop that bleaching process. Right now, I'll go ahead and tell you the secret code is windmill, 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 as in Windmill City, who again sponsored this program by donating all of the shirts that we're working with. So thanks again to Windmill City. And again, the secret code is one word, windmill. All right, now we're ready to go ahead and start bleaching. Again, I'm going to start here with the tag. I don't know if you'll have a tag or if you'll have it positioned the way that I do, but if you can just find one that you know that is your starting point, that'll be really helpful in keeping track of where you're bleaching. Because again, we're bleaching every other section, and again, we have to do it to the same sections on the other side. So I've got my bleach and water solution in here. Again, we've got a safety cap here, so that's good. Just when you have it off though, I would recommend just having your thumb over the edge. It's in a squirt bottle, so just be careful. Obviously, I'm very nervous about working with bleach, and that's good. You should be too. So be very careful when working with it, and let's get started. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and bleach here. And since there's kind of an organic, design to the pattern, it's not perfect. It's going to get all over the place. It's going to bleed over into other sections, and that's okay. But this will just kind of give us a general pattern to follow when bleaching. All right, I'm going to go ahead and flip over, and again, we're going to start in the same quadrant, the same section, excuse me, and skip again. All right, next what we're going to do is actually we're going to transfer this to, very carefully, we're going to transfer it to another surface, just so it doesn't sit in that bleach the entire time, because that's going to move around a lot. So I'm going to put it here on this lid and let it set here for about 10 minutes. You can already see it starting to process there. All right, it's been 10 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and take this over to the sink and rinse it really, really well. This can take probably about 5 or 10 minutes. You want to rinse with under cold water and get all of this bleach out to stop the process. You're going to wring it out. You're going to make sure you get this nice and rinsed. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and show you what happens at the end. I almost forgot. One thing when you're rinsing it, keep it in this state with the rubber bands in this shape and rinse through the bleach sections first. You want to rinse through those first, flip it over, do the other side, then rinse the entire thing, and then start taking the rubber bands off and unfolding it as you rinse it underwater. Very important tip. All right, here we have our finished product, our tie-dyed shirt. Looks great, really happy with it. The next thing you're going to do is you want to wash this in the washing machine. I would highly recommend washing it by itself. You may even want to do it a second time. Just put it on a small load. You can use detergent or not use detergent the first time, but the second time or before you wear it, you do want to make sure you use detergent to actually wash it. I hope you had fun making this. I love this craft. So again, thanks for doing it, and see you next time.